you beat Pokemon Violet with just a Cyclizar? No, not a team, just a single Cyclizar with no held items and without using items in battle? Let's find out. As we can't get Cyclizar early in the game, we trade a Ditto and a Cyclizar from my main profile. So, with some seductive music, mouth-watering lemonade, and a conversation about the Pidgeys and the Combies, we have a couple of eggs to choose from. But Hoenn, I hear you say, the lemonade isn't available until you get to Messagoza, which means you skip the first rival fight! Yes, with the egg boosting power of Lemonade, we had an egg within a minute. Without it, we hadn't found an egg in over 45 minutes. With 121 base speed and a nature that boosts it even further, Cyclizar is probably outspeeding most mons we come across. Ideally, I'd have preferred it to have a decreased special attack rather than special defense, but we can replace it later with nature changing mints. Cyclizar naturally has two Terra type options, Normal and Dragon. While Dragon would be more useful offensively, it would still leave Cyclizar vulnerable to Dragon, Ice and Fairy attacks, which is why I chose one with a normal Terra type, which removes these weaknesses and leaves us with just one, Fighting. Cyclizar only learns Normal, Dragon, Dark and Bug type attacks by level up, but by visiting the TM machine, it can learn Fire Fang, giving us a super effective move for the first two gym leaders, Katie and Brassius, and all it costs is 3 Houndour Fangs, which we can find at Inlet Grotto. We also take the opportunity to track down 3 Shinx Fangs in South Province Area 3, which can be traded for the TM Thunderfang, giving us even more diversity. We attempt the Bug Gym first. With Fire Fang, we have this in the bag. Cyclizar is a lower level than Katie's mons, but honestly, I expected more from a super effective Fire-type attack. 0 badges obtained and we're already grinding for experience and attack EVs. A level 14 Cyclizar learns Breaking Swipe. This Dragon-type move deals damage and always lowers the target's attack by 1 stage. In drawn-out battles, it might just allow Cyclizar to outlast our opponents as we reduce the target's attack every turn. Just like in our rematch against the Bug Gym, as Cyclizar is faster, we're guaranteed to lower the damage each of her mons deal as her team have no special attacks. And as they inflict less damage, it leaves Cyclizar with just enough HP to see out the battle and secure the win. It's also our go-to move against the first Titan Claw and allows us to beat both phases of the battle on the first attempt without any issue. Now level 17, we attempt the Grass-type gym. Against Brassius' first Pokemon Petilil, I'm again disappointed by how little damage Fire Fang does, so I choose Breaking Swipe to see which move does more, a super effective Fire-type attack or a Dragon-type attack that benefits from the same type attack bonus. Well, we don't find out as we land a critical hit. Yay! We choose to use Breaking Swipe against Smoliv, and although it doesn't one-shot it, the reduced attack means it can only deal a pathetic 4 points of damage to us. While Sudowoodo has a good defense stat, it only has access to Trailblaze and Rock Throw. So, while it takes 5 attacks to bring it down, we're never in any real danger of losing because it deals so little damage, which only decreases each turn as we use Breaking Swipe. That was a comfortable win. Up next is Bombardier. This fight is our first true close battle. I switch between Thunderfang and Breaking Swipe, still trying to figure out what deals more damage, an attack that's the same type as Cyclizar or a super effective move. Bombardier takes 3 attacks to bring it down, so it gets the chance to land 2 Rock Throws, bringing Cyclizar close to fainting, but we managed to pull through. If it wasn't for Cyclizar being faster and getting the extra attack, this would have been our first major roadblock in the game. We're thrust into the second stage of this Titan fight, and we're unable to heal. Bombardier doesn't take advantage of this though, and uses Torment instead of attacking, allowing us to get 2 attack drops with Breaking Swipe, which is crucial as Rock Throw no longer does enough damage to knock out Cyclizar. A final Breaking Swipe wraps up the second Titan fight. Oh, I forgot to name Cyclizar. Like my previous Violet solo challenge video, we need 3 Pokemon to enter the Team Star base. Our 2 additional Cyclizar die pretty much instantly, but it doesn't take long to track down Giacomo. We exploit Pawniard's fire weakness to quickly take it down with Fire Fang. Not only is his Starmobile our first major challenge in this run, but it's also the only mon so far that has been faster. So it gets to attack before Cyclizar can lower its attack with Breaking Swipe. Even worse, it has the Intimidate ability, which lowers Cyclizar's attack by 1 stage. Couple that with the Starmobile's ludicrous amount of health, and we barely put a dent in it. I tried Terrestrialize boosted Rapid Spin, but it doesn't do much damage, and while it does boost Cyclizar's speed by 1 stage, the Starmobile is still faster the following turn, and lands Snarl to put Cyclizar on death's door with just 1 HP, so Swift the following turn confirms our loss. While Snarl isn't 100% accurate, we can't rely on a 5% chance to miss to win this fight. So rather than increasing Cyclizar's level this early in the game, let's see if we can beat the next rival fight over in Levincia City. I won't go into too much detail as we simply use a combination of Breaking Swipe and Rapid Spin to win. After my previous solo challenge where Paldean Wooper was unable to win a single battle against Nemona, this win felt good. But we soon come crashing back down to earth though as we struggle against Iono, mainly because of her Ballybolt being able to tank my attacks thanks to its high HP and her Luxio's Intimidate ability. It's not until Cyclizar is level 27 we're able to go toe to toe with her. We could Terrestrialize and use normal type moves, but that would remove Cyclizar's Dragon typing, which resists electric type attacks. On this run, we get a high roll and one-shot the Watch Roll. Because of Luxio's Intimidate ability, it takes 3 attacks to knock it out, but Cyclizar only loses 15 HP from its 2 attacks. Each time we attack Ballybolt, its ability Electromorphosis kicks in and increases its next electric type attack. But it doesn't inflict much damage thanks to Cyclizar's Dragon typing resisting electric type attacks. It's a prolonged battle. It takes 4 Breaking Swipes to finally bring it down, so it gets a few chances to use Spark. But as Cyclizar resists it, and we reduce Ballybolt's attack, we make it to Iono's final Pokemon with just over half of Cyclizar's HP remaining. Her final Pokemon is an electric Terrestrialized Mismagius. At this point, I'm pretty sure that we're losing this fight, so I Terrestrialize and use Rapid Spin to test how much it does for my next attempt. Strangely though, it uses Confuse Ray rather than back-to-back charge beams, and we get even more luck as we overcome confusion on both turns to knock out Iono's final Mon. Cyclizar is beginning to struggle against trainers who use multiple Pokemon. As we're unable to use items in battle to heal, we need a way to restore HP. For the low price of 400 LP and the sacrifice of just 3 Drowsy, we get the TM for Rest. Rest fully recovers the user's HP, however it normally leaves the user asleep for 2 turns, unless of course your Cyclizar has the Shed Skin ability, which gives it a 1 in 3 chance to remove any status effect, including sleep at the end of each turn. It's obviously luck dependent, but it should be useful in drawn out fights. We're able to beat Giacomo at level 30, although I think it's less to do with the increase in levels and more from forcing Cyclizar to juice up with protein and Carbos to increase its attack and speed EVs. From one Team Star base to another, we take on Mila, who I thought would be easy as Cyclizar resists Fire-type attacks. However, her Torkoal has the ability Drought, boosting the Fire-type attacks her team uses, but with a combination of Breaking Swipe to lower a team's attacks and resting when we need to recover HP, we get through the fight after a couple of attempts. Against Earthworm, we use Firefang to clear the 2 battles in no time. Easy. Over in Cascarafa, there's apparently a load of new Pokemon to be seen. However, we follow Kofu's example and refuse to fill up the Pokedex, unlike Arvin's mum, AI or not. During the gym trial, we get the option to learn Shed Tail. This move is a combination of Substitute and Baton Pass, however, it only works if you can swap to another Pokemon, making it useless in this challenge run. It's time for the Water Gym. While Cyclizar is faster than Veluza, it requires 2 Thunderfangs to knock out, so it chips away at our health with Pluck. Wugtrio goes down to a single attack. Its gooey ability reduces Cyclizar's speed, but it doesn't affect the battle as Crabominable is still slower. We land Thunderfang, hoping for a flinch or paralysis, but no luck as it hits hard with Rock Smash, exploiting Cyclizar's fighting type weakness to leave it with just 17 HP. We're not knocking it out with second attack unless it's a critical hit, or we flinch it, which is just a 10% chance. And wouldn't you know it? We get the flinch! Just one more attack and we win. Knowing that we have the Poison-type Team Starbase and normal gym leader Larry coming up soon, I again use several proteins and Carbos to increase Cyclizar's attack and speed even further. Does it help? Not at all. It still takes several attacks to make it past Atticus' Skunk Tank, while Muck wipes the floor of us. Poison-type Mons are weak to ground and Psychic-type attacks, and annoyingly, Cyclizar can't learn any physical ground-type moves and no Psychic attacks at all, so we can't rely on super effective moves in this battle. We're firmly in the mid-game, and it's becoming apparent that Cyclizar is a bit of a glass cannon. It can hit hard, but can't take a lot of damage itself. It has just 65 points for its defense and special defense, and as we've not been building any EVs in these stats, we're able to hit hard and fast, but we're struggling with Pokemon who have high defenses or health that can chip away at Cyclizar's HP in a drawn-out fight. This situation is even worse when trainers use multiple Pokemon, like Trainer Adara and Medallia, whose Gumshoe survives our attack and retaliates with a critical takedown to reduce Cyclizar's HP to just 4. And look how little damage Breaking Swipe does against her Greedent. I'm blown away considering our attack stats is so high. I boost Cyclizar's defense and special defense with Iron and Zinc, but this just leads to a battle against Greedent that goes on and on. How long? We run out of power points for Rest. Curious, I head into the Treasure Eatery, and it turns out that you can just skip the trainers and order the secret item without earning the clues. Larry's Kamola isn't a threat, as it always switches between Yawn or Sucker Punch to storm the out and chip away at Cyclizar's health. The fight against Dun Dunsparce is a battle of attrition, and is the first time Cyclizar's Shed Skin ability sees plenty of use, normally from removing paralyses, as Dun Dunsparce tries to use Glare to reduce Cyclizar's speed, or from having to use Rest to recover HP to stop Cyclizar from fainting. Sometimes Shed Skin doesn't kick in until the last possible moment, so we once again have to use Rest and repeat the cycle, hoping Cyclizar wakes up early to give us as much health as possible to tackle Larry's Staraptor. In the end, we have to settle for around 3/4 of its maximum HP. The next couple of turns, we get into the same cycle. Staraptor hits us with a Terrestrialized Boosted Facade, leaving Cyclizar dangerously close to fainting, which means I have to use Rest and hope Cyclizar wakes up early. Not the best approach. I attempt the fight every few levels. During these battles, Cyclizar learns Dragon Claw. It's stronger than Breaking Swipe, though it doesn't have the added benefit of lowering the opponent's attack. At level 40, we're able to beat Larry, as Cyclizar now has access to Shift Gear. This move increases the user's speed by 2 stages and its attack by 1 stage, so it's an improved version of Dragon Dance. Kamala only has 3 moves: Sucker Punch, which only deals damage if we try to attack, Slam, which isn't 100% accurate, and its only other move is Yawn, so we're easily able to use 3 Shift Gears, increasing its attack by 3 stages. So, all 3 of Larry's mons go down to a single attack each. Time for another rival fight against Nemona. Another Shift Gear setup allows us to easily dispatch our entire team with ease. Next, we attempt to beat the 4th Titan, Iron Treads. Cyclizar is a lower level, but with some help from Firefang inflicting a burn, we're able to win. Why is this such a big deal? The burn status inflicts 1/16 of the target's health at the end of each turn, but if you didn't know, it also cuts the opponent's physical attack in half, reducing how much damage Iron Treads is able to inflict, enabling us to chip away and win the first fight. In the second phase, I make all the wrong choices. Believing Arvin Scovillain will tank some of the attacks, I set up with Shift Gear. Iron Tread goes all in on Cyclizar, attacking it 2 turns in a row while it's asleep. Thankfully, Arvin Scovillain is able to defeat it for us, using a combination of Firefang to attack and Scary Face to harshly lower its speed. Hey, we'll take it. It's time for the rematch against Atticus. Can you guess our plan? We use Shift Gear as normal, while Skuntank either fails to land Sucker Punch or uses Toxic or Venoshock. Setting up Shift Gear leaves Cyclizar open to attacks, and we need to rely on Rest to recover HP. And you've probably realised by now, it's not ideal, as we're reliant on Shed Skin kicking in to wake up Cyclizar early. If it doesn't, we usually lose the fight. But hey, maybe this is just foreshadowing for later. On this run, we get past Muck with Breaking Swipe and Rev of Rune with Firefang to exploit its weakness. Curiously, the Starmobile relies on Flame Charge, which does very little damage because of our typing. And even though we've raised Cyclizar's attack 3 stages with Shift Gear, it still takes 3 attacks to knock out the Starmobile. Next up is the Montenevra's Ghost Gym. With Shift Gear, we shouldn't have an issue, right? Especially as one of her Pokemon will target my second Cyclizar, which is level 1. Well, no. Mimikyu's Disguise ability means that it's guaranteed to survive a hit, as we don't have any multi-attack moves. Its rare typing also makes it immune to Cyclizar's Dragon and normal type moves. So instead we focus on the right side of the field, but this plan doesn't work as Banette survives our attack and gets to use Icy Wind, which along with Slash from Mimikyu brings Cyclizar to just 11 HP. We try again, this time we don't use Shift Gear and land back-to-back attack on Banette. This results in Rhyme sending in Houndstone, and as we can't knock it out in a single attack either, it strikes back with Play Rough. Ouch. Let's come back when Cyclizar is strong enough to knock out each of her Pokemon with a single attack. Should we work up a sweat in the Alphanada gym? Did you know you can press the correct button multiple times, but you can only press the like button on this video once? Yes, enough with the annoying plugs, but it helps YouTube to push this video to even more people, which is what I want to do. So please hit the like button. Thank you. I don't want you thinking that Shift Gear is an instant win for this challenge video, so here's another example of it going wrong. Here's Tulip's Faraffa setting up Reflect to negate the damage increase from Shift Gear. This proves to be a major stumbling block in this challenge. We have to level up or set up against the Faraffa, otherwise we can't make it past his second one, Gardevoir, which has powerful special type moves. Sorry if I'm not going into as much detail as you'd like on this fight. I had a whole page originally scripted for this section of the challenge, and the footage is just gone. But you're not missing much, as it's mainly a lot of trying to get the perfect combination of Shift Gear, Rest, and Shed Skin. So I do a bit of research to see if there are any other moves that complement Cyclizar's current moveset, and it turns out we can pick up the TM for Sleep Talk in the wild. Is Sleep Talk good? Well, it does allow me to use a move while asleep, such as Shift Gear or an attacking move, but as the move it chooses is random, there's a 33% chance of Cyclizar selecting Rest, which is absolutely useless as it doesn't work if the user is already asleep. I'm going going to grow to hate the randomness of this move, aren't I? On another attempt, I managed to shift gear 6 times, raising Cyclizar's attack to its maximum, and Farragarif lands a critical hit. Ah! After plenty of attempts, Cyclizar reaches level 50, and I teach it Terra Blast. Did you know that there are only 2 Pokemon that can't learn it? See if you can guess in the comments below. This 80 base power move is either physical or special depending on the user's high stats of the 2, which for Cyclizar is physical. The great thing about this move is that Cyclizar gets a boost in damage from the terrestrialization and same type attack bonus. So with the attack boost from Shift Gear, Terra Blast knocks out each of Tulip's team without any issue. Let's just use this method from now on, except Rhyme's ghost Pokemon are immune to normal type moves. Oh bugger, because we've switched up the gym order, we now have to battle Nemona again. It's a simple enough battle, and we stick to our Shift Gear strategy. However, at one point, I'm unable to knock out Pawmot because Cyclizar's 2 attacking moves, Iron Head and Crunch, are ineffective against it. However, instead of using a super effective arm thrust, it uses Thunder Wave, which is removed with Shed Skin. So we did get a bit lucky there. I panic realizing that Quaquaval is Nemona's final Pokemon and has a secondary fighting type too. Nemona terrestrializes her starter, so Crunch would have been effective, but I chose Iron Head. Luckily, Cyclizar's attack flinches and we knock it out the following turn. In the rematch against Rhyme, Cyclizar's increased level and a single Shift Gear allows Crunch to take down Banette, Houndstone, and her terrestrialized Toxtricity before they get a chance to attack. However, because this is a 2-on-1 battle, Mimikyu chips away at Cyclizar's health each turn, but it's not much of a threat. A quick rest, followed by a couple of Iron Heads, claims us the Ghost Badge. There's plenty of TMs available for Cyclizar to learn, however, we'll need Miraidon to have Rock Climb, which is locked behind the final Titan fight. Disappointingly, after a few failed attempts, our win is just a result of Dondozo choosing to use Water Pulse, and Cyclizar getting lucky flinching with Thunderfang. Even with Arven's support, the second battle is more difficult as we no longer do as much damage, and it has access to the Dragon type attack Order Up. However, if we terrestrialize, Cyclizar will no longer resist its Water type attacks. The key to winning this fight is to boost our attack with Shift Gear. Shocking, I know, and to rely on Greedent using Leer, and it works! A single Thunderfang removes half its health. The battle against the true Titan Tasugiri is much easier as it doesn't have as much HP as Dondonzo, and it's weak to Cyclizar's Dragon Claw. It's an easy fight. With Rock Climb, we pick up 8 TMs including Acrobatics and Substitute. Grush's Ice-type Pokemon have a type advantage against Cyclizar. Frostmoth's Blizzard hits hard despite me terrestrializing. But there's nothing to worry about, as all 4 of his team go down to a single attack each. The attack on Altaria was a critical hit, but I don't think it mattered. We head to the Team Star Fairy base, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, we actually lose the first raid. I expected our 2 level 1 Cyclizars to go down, but not our main one. And for the first time in my 20 raids I've ever done, I'm forced to use the vending machines to heal to make it through. It's time to take on Ortega, the Fairy type Team Star leader. Even though we can remove Cyclizar's weakness to Fairy type attacks, this is one of the endgame battles that had me worried. And rightly so. Azumarill hits hard, has great defenses, and can use Charm to lower the physical damage that our Cyclizar can deal. Charm doesn't work though against a target that's set up as Substitute. We tried predicting it, but if we guess wrong, Azumarill is strong enough that it will just break the sub on the same turn, meaning all we've managed to achieve is sacrificing some of Cyclizar's health. Between its high power Play Rough and Aqua Tail, it's obvious we need to be at a higher level to win. Even increasing Cyclizar's level to 60 doesn't guarantee our win, as in order to set up enough Shift Gears to sweep Ortega's team, we need his mons to miss some of their attacks. It eventually happens though, Azumarill misses several attacks and Aqua Tail fails to break our sub. With 4 Shift Gears set up, we can go on the offensive, knocking out Azumarill, Wigglytuff and Dashbun without any resistance. Cyclizar's increased attack isn't strong enough to one-shot the Starmobile, but we come so close though. And as it's unable to finish Cyclizar with Magical Talk, a final attack sees it off. The other late-game Team Star leader, Eri, specializes in Fighting-type Pokemon. A terrible type matchup as all of her Pokemon can inflict super effective damage against Cyclizar, whether it's terrestrialized or not. This is probably why her first Pokemon, Toxicroak, doesn't even bother using Sucker Punch, and instead repeatedly uses Brick Break, breaking our sub 4 times in a row. With just 1 HP left, I'm not winning. Let's just use Acrobatics to test how much damage it would deal for the next attempt. Another crit? Why does this keep happening? Cyclizar is able to survive just 1 Brick Break. This gives us 1 opportunity to set up a single Shift Gear. Shockingly, the boost allows us to deal enough damage to defeat Toxicroak, Persimmon, and Annihilate with a single attack, but Lucario barely hangs on and knocks out Cyclizar. While we could level up, let's try and beat Arven. Can a level 60 Cyclizar beat his team of 6, ranging from level 58 to 63? Let's find out. We're able to set up 3 shift gears. As usual, we have to use rest and rely on shed skin. Cyclizar comes uncomfortably close to fainting a couple of times, but hangs on with just 27 HP. None of Arvin's team has a priority move, so as long as we can knock out each Pokemon in a single hit, we'll win. Terra Blast sees off Greedent, and Arvin sends out the only Pokemon that has a chance of surviving Cyclizar's increased attack. Garganical is a pure rock type with a defense stat of 130, so it shrugs off our ineffective Terra Blast. While we have a think about another potential winning strategy, we take a moment to admire Arvin's huge backpack. Can you guess what's in it? That's right, it's me, Professor Hoenn. If you're after more Pokemon content, then can you do me a huge favour and click the subscribe button below for more videos from me? I've been creating content for 4 years now, and I'd love to finally hit 1,000 subscribers in 2023. Thank you, and back to the video. An hour later, yes, an hour later, we're still trying. You might be wondering why I keep trying to beat the same trainers over and over again and not just increase Cyclizar's level at the first chance. Well, for me, the challenge is about coming up with a strategy to win these difficult fights at the lowest level possible. A few attempts later, we finally set up 4 shift gears and Garganical still doesn't go down. No, I'm done. Let's go to the Elite Four, where Rika's Donphan survives Dragon Claw, so knocks out Cyclizar with Earthquake. So it's official. We'll need to level up Cyclizar to progress against these endgame fights. Now level 70, Cyclizar can survive 3 attacks from Arvin's Greedent, which makes our shift gear strategy much less luck-based. But even with the level boost, Garganical survives Dragon Claw. Can we beat it without leveling up any further though? We add Iron Head to Cyclizar's moveset. It's super effective against rock types, so takes down the Garganical after 3 shift gears. His other Pokemon, Toedscruel, Scavillain, and Cloyster all go down to a single Dragon Claw each. Arvin's final Pokemon, Mabosstiff, has the ability Intimidate. Cyclizar is now only +2 in attack, and I'm actually shocked that the damage we deal isn't enough to knock it out. On our next try, we set up an extra shift gear to cover us against Mabosstiff's Intimidate, and it's enough. Yes, it was a critical hit, but we were knocking it out anyway, right? Now 10 levels higher than our previous attempt and +1 in attack from shift gear, Cyclizar can knock out the first 4 of Aries Pokemon with a single acrobatics each. His Starmobile has access to Combat Talk. This 100% accurate 100 base power fighting move is just too strong, even at Cyclizar's current level. I tried to use acrobatics against the Starmobile, but it's just not strong enough to knock it out. I need to set up a second shift gear. The problem though is that I'm not sure where I'll get chance as her mons just spam super effective fighting type moves. After some trial and error, I discovered that we can knock out each of her first 4 Pokemon without boosting Cyclizar's attack. Acrobatics for Toxicroak, Persimmon and Annihilate, and Fire Fang for Lucario. Because Cyclizar has full HP, the Starmobile changes tactics and bizarrely uses 3 shift gears in a row. We'll take the win, but I'm not happy about it. Rika is a pushover. Wishcash has access to Blizzard but misses the first attempt. It connects the second time, but we've Terrestrialized, so Cyclizar isn't in danger. With 2 shift gears set up, and other than Donphan was sturdy, we one-shot each of her mons. After the last couple of hours attempting to beat the other trainers, that was a rather relaxing fight. Poppy, like my last challenge video, is a nightmare. I have 9 clips from this fight, and that's not including the attempts where I was testing strategies that I didn't record. So why am I struggling? Her team of Steel-type Pokemon resist normal and Dragon-type attacks, so Terra Blast and Dragon Claw won't get us through this fight. Steel are only weak to ground, fighting, and fire attacks. Cyclizar's strongest ground move is Mudshot, a special type attack with 55 power. It doesn't get access to a fighting type attack move, and the only other attacking fire type move that Cyclizar learns is Overheat, but it's a special type move. Not ideal considering we've neglected Cyclizar's special attack. While Cyclizar can deal super effective damage with Fire Fang, it's not usually strong enough to one-shot Poppy's mons, and has a 5% chance of missing, meaning each of them lands at least 1 attack each to slowly whittle down Cyclizar's health. Sometimes Copperages play rough misses, just a 10% chance though. Corviknight isn't too difficult as it likes to prioritize Iron Defense. Typically 2 or 3 Fire Fangs takes it down. Bronzong usually uses Iron Head before a second attack knocks it out. Sturdy always prevents us from one-shotting Magnezone. Sometimes it wastes its turn by setting up Light Screen, but typically it will attack with Flash Cannon. So, as our first 4 mons have chipped away at Cyclizar's health and we can't one-shot Tinkaton, we lose. We try our usual strategy of setting up with shift gear and then using substitute resting and sleep talk, but none of these strategies work either. So it's probably not a shock that our win comes courtesy of, you guessed it, good luck. Firefang burns Copperajah. Now that it inflicts less damage, we can set up with shift gear and rest to recover health as the burn eventually knocks it out. But this means Cyclizar is still asleep against Corviknight. I failed to correctly predict when Cyclizar will wake up and waste my turn as Body Press brings Cyclizar to just 5 HP. I take a massive gamble. I could choose Sleep Talk, but there's only a 33% chance of it using Firefang. I select Rest and hope Cyclizar wakes up at the start, and guess what? It actually happens! The following turn, Sleep Talk chooses Firefang to bring down Corviknight. The same thing happens against Bronzong, however it misses. Shed Skin kicks in and I use Rest once more. Cyclizar needs as much HP as possible for the final 2 mons. For the next 2 turns, Sleep Talk triggers useless moves, so by the time Cyclizar wakes up, we have to rest again. Eventually, Shed Skin kicks in and a single Firefang knocks out Bronzong. Our boosted attack makes no difference to the fight with Magnezone, as Sturdy will leave it with just 1 HP, but it wastes its turn with Light Screen. We get to Poppy's final mon with plenty of HP left, not that it matters, as a single attack knocks out Tinkaton. These drawn out battles of running down Cyclizar's PP points, but it's not an issue. By forgetting and remembering moves, it resets the PP points. The third member of the Elite Four is Larry. We terrestrialize against Tropius as it has Dragon Pulse. Instead, it uses Sunny Day as I set up with Shift Gear. Just 1 attack boost is enough to knock it out with Terra Blast. Staraptor's Intimidate cuts Cyclizar's attack. It also has access to close combat. Is an unboosted Terra Blast strong enough to knock it out? It is if it's a critical hit. This is massive. Without it, I'm not sure we'd have won the battle. It's just 1 close combat would likely knock out Cyclizar. Altaria survives our attack and retaliates with Flamethrower. Boosted by the Sunny Day, it does an overwhelming 51 points of damage. So I used the opportunity to set up Shift Gear, confident that Altaria doesn't pose much of a threat with its moveset. So we rolled through Larry's Altaria and his remaining mons. Hassel uses a team composed of Dragon Pokemon. Shift Gear isn't required to win this fight. Dragon Claw one-shots Noivern, Flapple, and Dragalge. Haxorus breaks the mold and I break its connection to life with a single Dragon Claw. His final Pokemon, Baxcalibur, survives and tries to one-shot with Glaive Rush. It nearly does the job, leaving Cyclizar with just 22 HP. Did you know Hassel's Baxcalibur only has 3 attacks and none of them are priority, so he has no way to stop us from winning this fight. I keep seeing recurring discussions on the internet about Geeta being the weakest champion. Perhaps she is, but not if you're trying to win this battle with a single Dragon type. We're able to knock out his path through with 2 Dragon Claws, Go-Goat with 2 Firefangs, but Avalugg has a ridiculous defense stats of 184, and with Body Press, it brings Cyclizar from 141 HP to just 1. It's clear I'll lose this attempt, so I use Firefang, and I'm blown away that it doesn't even take off half of Avalugg's health. To have any chance of surviving this fight, we'll have to terrestrialize Cyclizar against her first Pokemon to remove Cyclizar's weakness to Ice and Fairy type attacks, as Espartha has access to Dazzling Gleam, Go-Goat has Play Rough, the loser can use Ice Fang, Avalugg has Avalanche, and Glamora has Dazzling Gleam. That's 5 mons in her team that can hit Cyclizar with super effective attacks. You might think it's best that I terrestrialize against Espartha, as it has access to Dazzling Gleam. However, doing so usually causes it to use Reflect to increase her team's defenses, so instead I land 2 attacks to knock out Geeta's first Pokemon. The correct choice is to terrestrialize against Go-Goat to stop it from using Play Rough. This causes it to use Bulk Up once to boost its attack and defense by 1 stage, but we can negate this with 2 Breaking Swipes without knocking it out. It now begins to repeatedly use Horn Leech as I set up with Shift Gear and eventually rest. However, with its reduced attack, Cyclizar can comfortably survive a few attacks before needing to rest, which gives me enough turns to set up with Shift Gear. A few minutes later, we've used Shift Gear the maximum number of times and Cyclizar's attack is maxed. It's a risky plan as at one point Horn Leech leaves Cyclizar with just 13 HP. Without a priority move, Go-Goat can do nothing as we rest once more. Resting is essential because if we don't do it, the loser would likely use its priority move Aqua Jet. Even with our increased attack, Go-Goat requires 2 attacks to knock out as it's used several bulk ups to increase its defense. The next 2 attacks are crucial. We have to rely on Firefang to deal super effective damage against Avalugg and King Gambit, but there's still the 5% chance to miss and ruin this run. RNG is with us though, as we're able to beat them both and Geeta's other 2 mons of the loser and Glamora, clearing the Elite Four. But we're not done yet, there are still 4 major battles. To wrap up Victory Road, we need to beat Nemona. I retried the strategy that secured us the win against Poppy. We burn Lycanroc with Firefang, and with a reduced attack and a 20% chance to miss Stone Edge, we can easily set up and wipe her team. If you're wondering why burning our opponents is such a good tactic, then be sure to check out my Pokemon Red challenge after this video, where I attempt to beat it whilst my entire team is always burnt. And our reward for beating her? We're sent to our accommodation. The issue is that when we attempt to leave by heading to the Academy's entrance, we're forced to battle direct to Clavel. We attempt to win by using Shift Gear, Substitute, Rest, and Dragon Claw. Running with just 1 attacking move is normally risky, but Clavel doesn't have any Fairy type Pokemon. Unlike our Paldean Wooper only challenge, Oranguru uses Foul Play more often, so predicting the Yawn to get a free turn to set up a substitute doesn't happen as often. If we predict wrong, it's a waste of a turn as Foul Play is strong enough to break the sub. After 6 turns, we've only set up 2 shift gears and decide to go on the offensive. We make it past his first Pokemon, but his second, Abomasnow, has the priority move Ice Shard. We'll need to enter this phase of the fight with plenty of HP. Let's try another new tactic. We don't bring Rest or Shift Gear and instead bring a diverse moveset of Fire Fang, Thunder Fang, Crunch, and Substitute. A super effective Crunch gets us past Oranguru, but it's able to break our sub. Fire-type attacks inflict 4 times the normal damage against the Abomasnow, so it goes down, and it doesn't use Icicle Spear. Result: Gyarados' Intimidate lowers Cyclizar's attack, preventing us from knocking it out with 1 Thunder Fang, despite its quad weakness to electric-type attacks. But we paralyze and flinch it. This is the perfect time to set up a substitute. It takes 2 attempts until the paralysis forces Gyarados to miss its turn, but we eventually get one up and we're able to knock it out. Poltergeist Sucker Punch will always go first, but it's not strong enough to break Cyclizar's sub. Unfortunately, we're unable to knock it out because of the earlier Intimidate. On the next turn, Crunch knocks it out, but not before its second Sucker Punch breaks Cyclizar's sub. I expect Amoonguss to use either Spore or Toxic. I predict correctly, so its attack fails as I set up the substitute. It takes 3 super effective Fire Fangs to bring down Amoonguss, so it chips away and eventually breaks our sub. Clavel terrestrializes his final Pokemon, Scalidirge. Annoyingly, it's no longer weak to Crunch. I use it anyway, hoping for the flinch. However, because of Scalidirge's bulk, we need Crunch to flinch several turns in a row, which is unlikely. Now level 80 with maxed out EVs, we try a previous strategy of using Shift Gear. With Cyclizar's increased levels, I was confused how Foul Play was still dealing so much damage. Well, Foul Play uses the target's attack stat to calculate damage instead of the user's. So by powering up Cyclizar, we're increasing the damage that Oranguru deals. So I swap back to the previous strategy of just trying to brute force my way through his team with Fire Fang, Thunder Fang, Crunch, and Substitute. The odds are shifted in our favour as Thunder Fang now one-shots Gyarados despite the Intimidate, and Poltergeist wastes a turn with Will-O-Wisp and then fails to break our sub, despite hitting it with 2 Sucker Punches. But like last time, Cyclizar's attacks don't deal enough damage to one-shot Amoonguss or Scalidirge. Cyclizar is level 80 and was still struggling. This isn't looking good. So you're probably expecting me to just take the easy route and hit level 90? Nope. We feed Hondu Berries to Cyclizar to remove some of its wasted special attack EVs and use proteins to increase its attack EVs even more. We also change its nature to Adamant, finally swapping its decrease in special defense for special attack. We replace Substitutes with Terra Blast. That's right folks, no Sleep Talk, Rest or Shift Gear. Will this work? Crunch one-shots Oranguru. Against the Abomasnow, I use Fire Fang to take advantage of its weakness. I also make a huge mistake in Terrestrialize. Gyarados intimidates us, but still goes down to a single Thunder Fang. Clavel switches it up, sending out Amoonguss rather than Poltergeist. As Fire Fang was doing so little, I instead switched to Terra Blast. It's not enough, but another attack will finish it off. It uses Spore to put us to sleep, and starts to chip away with Giga Drain for 2 turns in a row, before Shedskin finally kicks in, and a second Terra Blast finishes it off. Poltergeist Sucker Punch barely does any damage, which explains why 2 attacks weren't enough to break our sub earlier in this run. A single Crunch brings it down. Scalidirge hits hard with Torch Song, and as Cyclizar is no longer part Dragon, we don't resist it, and unfortunately 2 attacks aren't enough to knock it out. With no options left, I use Thunder Fang, hoping it will flinch, but no luck. This time we replace Terra Blast with Substitute. We successfully set up a sub against Oranguru, who wastes its turn with Yawn. We then proceed to one-shot Oranguru and Abomasnow. Our Substitute blocks Gyarados' Intimidate. It too also goes down to a single attack. Poltergeist Sucker Punch fails to break the sub. Cyclizar knocks it out with a single Crunch. We use Crunch against Amoonguss as Giga Drain also fails to break the sub. It does restore some HP from the attack, but not enough to prevent a second Crunch from taking it down. I don't Terrestrialize against Scalidirge. This prevents it from using its Terrestrialize boosted Torch Song. Instead, it uses Earth Power and breaks our sub. With plenty of HP remaining, Cyclizar clings on with ease to land the 3 attacks needed to knock out Scalidirge and clear the battle. Just 2 major battles left. Each of Penny's Pokemon have Quick Attack and Baby Doll Eyes. Baby Doll Eyes is a priority move which reduces the target's attack. Coupled with Quick Attack, there's a risk they chip away at both Cyclizar's attack and HP. On our first run, we're able to switch between Terra Blast and Substitute to knock out each of her first 4 Pokemon without much difficulty. Her final 2 Pokemon, Leafeon and Sylveon, just barely survive our attacks, and a combination of Leaf Blade and Terrestrialized Moonblast gifts Penny the win. Once more, we head back to our tried and tested method. Umbreon's strongest attack is Dark Pulse, which is unable to break our sub in a single attack. So, by switching between setting up new substitutes and using Shift Gear, we're able to clear this battle easily on just our second attempt, meaning there's just one final battle standing between us and succeeding in this solo challenge. Toro does not mess about. A single attack from any of his mons will likely destroy a substitute in one attack. So I bring along Terra Blast, Shift Gear, Rest, and Sleep Talk. Cyclizar can tank 2 attacks from Imoth before I need to rest, which allows me to set up 2 Shift Gears. Of course, just like earlier in this run, having to rely on Sleep Talk is never the most reliable strategy. On our first attempt, the first Sleep Talk triggers Rest, a waste of a turn. In the second turn, it uses Terra Blast, but as we're not terrestrialized, it deals a pathetic amount of damage. It takes a few tries, of course, but we eventually get a run where we get to use Shift Gear twice and wake up from rest early. A terrestrialized Terra Blast knocks it out. Iron Hands has Fake Out, so survives an extra turn before we knock it out too. Iron Thorn's rock typing cuts Terra Blast damage in half. I panic and choose to use Rest. Why? Because I don't think we'll knock it out in a single attack, and with 4 attacking moves, including a super effective Brick Break, I doubt Cyclizar is surviving. We do get to land an attack though after Cyclizar wakes up, but I was right, even +2 in attack isn't enough to beat this mon, so it knocks us out with critical Stone Edge. We got a bit unlucky there however, as Stone Edge has a 20% chance to miss. What about setting up 3 Shift Gears? Let's find out. Iron Thorn survives on the Sliver and one-shots us with Brick Break. At level 85, Cyclizar typically survives 2 attacks, but barely. The majority of the time, Imoth uses Sludge Wave, as 2 of its other moves are resisted thanks to Cyclizar's Dragon typing. Annoyingly, a couple of runs are ended prematurely, either as a result of Imoth getting high rolls on its 2 attacks to finish the battle early, or getting the 10% chance to inflict poison with Sludge Wave. My usual tactics of switching between Rest, Sleep Talk and Substitute to buy time to set up Shift Gear isn't working, as Cyclizar just can't survive long enough. Time for another approach. Cyclizar can learn Mud Slap, a weak special attack ground type move at just 20 base power. So why are we choosing this move? It is guaranteed to lower the opponent's accuracy. Even better is it deals so little, it means we can use it multiple times, increasing the chance that Imoth misses its attack. Attempting this against Imoth is the best choice, as Toro's next 2 mons, Iron Hands and Iron Thorns, both have super effective fighting type moves. Strangely, as we lower Imoth's accuracy by 3 stages, it starts to cycle through its attacks. With its reduced accuracy, I can now switch between setting up Shift Gear and Rest to recover HP. Even so, it's close, as on one turn we wake up just in time to rest again, as another attack would have knocked out Cyclizar. We finally wake up and set up another Shift Gear as it misses Fiery Dance. With 4 Shift Gears now set up, I use Mud Slap again. Why didn't I use it earlier? I wasn't sure if it would have knocked it out, forcing us to deal with the remaining Pokemon in Toro's team when we weren't ready. It probably sounds easier than it is, but there are still some scary moments, such as Cyclizar refusing to wake up as Imoth connects with Fiery Dance, boosting its special attack and then connecting with a second attack. But after waking up, we're able to take out each of Toro's team without any difficulty, outspeeding and one-shotting each of his Pokemon to wrap up this challenge. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this challenge, please leave a like on this video to let me know if you want more content like this. Until then, click one of the on-screen links to watch another one of our challenge videos.